This is The Wave. I'm Cody Lauscher, your host, and joining me today is Whitney Miranda. Hello, Whitney.
Hi.
How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me today.
I'm glad that you're able to come out. Good to meet you.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Whitney, you're from Lomond.
Yes. The booming metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
There's about there was 100 kids in the school and about 200 in the town.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, if you were going into town for like a Friday night, where would you go?
We just probably would hang out at a friend's house or the camp kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Small town.
Yeah. What's the largest urban center? Would it be Brooks?
Vulcan was the closest.
Vulcan.
You're about half
Is
an
that
hour from Vulcan.
Groceries? Did you get them in
Yeah,
Vulcan?
there was the Lucky Dollar in Lomond that you could get groceries at. And
Mhm.
there used to be 3 grocery stores, actually.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day.
How many stores are there now?
One that's combined with the hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the bank.
Do you go home to Lomond often?
Not too often. My parents are snowbirds, so we usually go away to see them.
Mm-hmm. Where are they at?
They're in Arizona a lot.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Where it's always warm.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goals to aspire to, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When I was done university, I took the month off and went and lived the retired life to see what we were working towards. And it was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Something to do,
Yeah.
work towards for sure.
Were your family farmers in Lomond?
Yes.
Yeah.
Family farmed with my uncle, my dad's brother. They farmed together, Fairview Farms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They still work the same farm?
We own the farm, but we rent it out to another family.
You didn't want to take it up?
In hindsight, probably should have, but nope, we did.
I hear you have a twin sister.
I do. Identical twin sister, Kirby.
Do you have any other siblings?
Yes, and I have a younger sister, Brett. She's 5 years younger than we are.
3 girls.
3 girls.
In a farming household.
Lucky dad.
Then were any of the 3 of you interested in farming? Was that ever an option, really, that you thought to yourself that maybe I'll take over the farm?
No, not when we were growing up. It was just we would always go away to school, university, and get a job in the city.
Well, do you feel your parents promoted that to
Oh yeah, for sure.
go to school and leave the farm?
Yeah, since we were little kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Did you go to school in Lethbridge?
Yeah, University of Lethbridge.
Was that number 1 pick?
Yep, that was my number 1 pick. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was good. I graduated with my management degree
Okay.
from there. So
You? Did you go to the college ever?
I did take a year at the college, and then
No diploma?
I do have my diploma as well.
Me too. I'm double papered from the Lethbridge schools.
I just took the scenic route.
Mhm. Me too. I think a lot of us did.
Yeah, it was good.
So, where else have you lived other than Lomond and Lethbridge?
Just Lomond and Lethbridge.
Yeah?
Just the 2 places.
That's
Traveled
cool.
lots, but not moved places.
Mhm.
So
Do you
Yeah.
get away fairly often?
yeah, we try to go every year to go somewhere.
Where do you like to go? Same
Oh.
place or different place every time?
Well, I really like Hawaii, but
Yeah.
we've gone to Europe and different places.
I've never been to Hawaii.
Ugh, put it on the bucket list.
I hear Kauai is the place to be.
Yeah.
But
I've
I'd like
been
to do any of
Hawaii,
them.
Yeah.
Traveling is a lot of fun. I really enjoy traveling. And every time you come home, I feel like you have a little bit of a new appreciation for home.
Well, I have found I've been to Australia and Europe and all over Canada, and it seems like our home here is quite nice.
Yeah.
The weather, what we have,
Mhm.
opportunities.
I
pretty great.
agree. I think there's a lot of opportunity for young people here. Well, for anybody, really. Traveled quite a bit as well, and
Well,
we have a very high standard of living that we should certainly be more grateful for than a lot of us are.
yeah, and home prices are so low
Yeah.
that you can afford a home here.
You can. So you work for Ashcroft Homes?
Yes. I've been with them just over 6.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I graduated university, I sold windows for All Weather Windows for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then because my twin sister sold new homes, I moved into that business and have been with them ever since.
So did you work for the same company as your twin sister?
No, she worked for the competition. She worked for Daytona Homes for 12 and a half years. And now she's the sales manager at Galco.
That's pretty cool. Are you guys like identical? Do you still have like
Identical.
the same hairstyle and everything?
Very similar. Enough that when she used to work in the show homes, we would be just 3 doors apart. And people would go to her show home and they'd come down to my show home, and then they would think that I've changed my clothes or that I followed them into the show home, and they were always weirded out. And then I would explain to them that there's actually 2 of us. And
Would you and your sister ever coordinate and just troll people?
No.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, it's good. I usually know the look when they're confused.
Yeah, like I've seen that look before.
Yeah, I wear my name tag a lot for that reason.
I guess. Nice. So, have you seen Lethbridge grow quite a bit since you first moved here?
Yes, when I first moved here 20 years ago, I lived on Red Crow, and the area didn't even connect. Like, the Red Crow didn't even connect back then. And there was only a couple new subdivisions, and now there's, I think, 7 or 8 subdivisions on the west side. So definitely things have grown so much. I think that there's almost the same amount of people on the west side now as there is on the east side. So
Where do you live?
I live in Riverstone.
Riverstone, that's west side.
Yeah.
Have you lived on the south side as well?
No, I've only lived in Copperwood, Gary Station, Riverstone twice, and on Red Crow.
When I went to university, I worked on the west side and went to school there, so I very rarely left the west side.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how small of a little like pattern that you can just keep.
Back
keep
then
doing.
it was Blockbuster, Safeway, home. Blockbuster, Safeway, home.
I actually lived in McGrath for quite a while,
Yeah.
so we would drive into the south side of the city, and I can remember when that like first gas station by
Like Tim Hortons.
yeah, right by Tim Hortons there, that was like the edge of town.
Yeah.
Like it was all fields up until that point, and then like
Yeah.
you were in Lethbridge, and now it's it's on the other side of that coulee.
Yeah, Prairie Arbor.
Prairie Arbor
Yeah.
or Harbor?
Prairie Arbor.
Arbor. That's is that the same development on both sides of the road?
No, there's Sandstone that is the original, and then it goes into Gold Canyon now as the new development that's
Okay.
west of that.
I didn't even know that Gary Station was like a community until about a month ago. One of my friends, I went to visit her over there,
Yeah.
and I went to the traffic circle by the Safeway, which I drive past it all the time, and
Yeah.
I kept going, and it blew my mind.
It's been there for 5 or 6 years.
I'm a little slow, apparently.
It was my first subdivision that I worked in.
So I was familiar with the name.
Yeah.
People said, like, oh, over in Gary Station. I knew exactly where they were talking about.
Yeah.
I did not realize that it had grown to that extent.
Yeah. Well, now that Métis Trails there, it connects. It's the new Red Crow of the west side, so
Okay.
it connects Country Meadows, Gary Station, Crossings,
Mhm.
Copperwood.
And that's all kind of based around that new Chinook High School.
Yeah.
I think it's not
Yeah.
that new anymore. But
It's the new school.
Yeah. yeah. Is that where you guys are doing quite a bit of your business?
Yes, we have specific subdivisions that Ashcroft sells into that we own lots in, and that's Copperwood, Gary Station, and Country Meadows on the west side. And then now we're into a new subdivision in the south called Southbrook that's on the corner of 43rd and Highway 4.
How do prices compare from the west side to the south side? Is
Well,
there any difference?
there used to be quite a spread, but now that Southbrook is in there, they're quite comparable. There's about a $10,000 difference between a west side lot of similar size to the south side lot.
Really?
So it's quite economical to live on the south side now.
Do you think that's again based on that high school and the development that's going on over there?
Well, I think it's just competition. Before there was kind of a monopoly of the one area in the south, so they could set their price point of what they wanted it to be. And now that Southbrook is in there, now there's 2 subdivisions, so it's competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, competition drives price down?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing. Does Ashcroft just build spec houses, or do they generally wait for someone to come to them with a project in mind?
That they do kind of a mixture of both of them. We have inventory product that's called a spec home. So we build them in case that somebody needs something to move into right away and they're not as particular on what's in the home as far as selections and colors go. So usually we have a couple spec homes in each subdivision that are ready to go, and then but primarily we do a lot of pre-sale, so that's where people pick the lot, pick the home, and make the tweaks and changes that they want in it, and really customize it to what they want and their needs are.
Okay, so I was looking on the website briefly, and what do they call them? I think like just
Suited?
a quick buy or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
or quick possession.
Quick possessions, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just a home that's already been built, that's
Yeah.
pretty much ready to go.
Typically, it's either just being completed or it already has been completed, and you can move into it probably like right away
Yeah.
on it.
How does Ashcroft decide how many homes to build in a year?
Oh, there's, you look at the things that are going on in the market. So, for example, like last year projected that we would do about 90 homes, and we did 90 homes. And then this year we thought it was going to turn down a little bit, so we projected that we'd maybe do about 70 homes, and we're ahead of our budget for the year. So things definitely do seem to be picking up, and the traffic is very good in the different show homes that we have, and there's still lots of people coming in, so that's fantastic.
Over the last couple of years, what kind of fluctuations have you seen in the housing market?
The biggest thing that we've found is the stress test has been quite an issue in our business, just because people that used to be able to get approved for a $400,000 house now only can get maybe approved for $350,000 home.
So what did the stress test put into place that like people are finding a little more difficult?
So basically what that means is that people when they go to see their bank or mortgage broker, they have to be able to qualify to carry a mortgage with a higher interest rate. So a standard interest rate right now is about just over 3%, and they would have to qualify for just under 6%. Okay. So in case it goes up, then they still can afford the home. And so it's really it really impacted the people. But even this past week, Build Lethbridge, which is what used to be called the Canadian Home Builders Association, they have put a group together and presented to City Hall, all the different councillors, about what is happening and what the actual facts are and how it's affected our community. Because really this was put into place for things like places like Vancouver and Toronto, but it's painted the whole country with the same brush, and like we can't afford for that to happen, and it's not necessary for that to happen. So
you don't think that, I believe that the stress test was kind of put there because they're afraid that too many people were carrying too much personal debt, and if interest rates did go up a little bit, they wouldn't be able to handle that, right? So do you feel that that's like it's not applicable for Lethbridge as much as other places, just based on the price of housing, or?
That definitely is a factor. We're about $100,000 less than what the next closest city is to ours, so it's so much more reasonably priced to build a home here, to buy a home here.
So can you just give us a quick example, like same square footage house in a good neighborhood in Calgary compared to Lethbridge, but like let's say like a 4-bedroom house, fairly nice. What are we looking at in
Yeah,
Lethbridge?
so I don't know as much about Calgary because I have a sister company in Saskatoon and Regina, and a 2,000 square foot home, so that's 3 bedrooms and a bonus room upstairs would be about 400,000 here, and now it's 500,000 there.
Wow.
And prices have gone down a little bit in those areas, and Calgary would even be more than that.
Yeah.
For the exact same product, because we have affiliate companies that build this exact same product, so it's very apples to apples.
Okay.
On it. The biggest cause for the house prices going up right now too is that building costs are going up a lot because building code has changed a lot.
Okay.
So we're having to put more energy efficient things in the homes and more stipulations for that are building the homes, and all those things just cost that much more money.
Have you seen much change as far as like smart technology being put into homes?
You would think that there would be more like solar panels and things like that, are you thinking? Or
that, as well as like
control
just
for...
like all the lights and everything being all like Bluetooth compatible, like...
Yes, there definitely is more of that happening, and I think that definitely is a niche, but a lot of the people that are buying new homes, that isn't as important as having a flashy kitchen or nice bathrooms and nice appliances kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most important room in a house?
Oh, the kitchen, for
kitchen?
Sure.
Me too.
Cooking, entertaining.
I'm currently living in a house. I'm a renter, and my girlfriend and I are moving, and we're going from a beautiful big kitchen to a much smaller kitchen, and we're already like bracing ourselves to deal with it.
Definitely, people buy homes and enjoy their homes because of the kitchens.
Yeah. So, speaking to a renter, why would you say that they should buy a home, and why should you buy a new home over an old home?
Good questions. So, there's a couple things to think about. Like, prices do seem to be going up continuously. I bought a home in Copperwood 10 years ago, and the lot on the pond was $102,000, and that same lot now would be about $155,000. So in a very short period of time, just the land alone has gone up drastically, and that seems to be the rate that it's going. And the interest prices are only just over 3%, and that's still, as historic speaking, like fantastic prices. I'm sure you've heard the stories from your parents about 18% or higher interest rates that would kill you on it. And you're investing in a product that you will be able to sell and get that money out of, as opposed to renting and that money is disappearing. There is a couple ways, though, that I would maybe suggest easing yourself into it. We have a lot of what's called legally suited product, where you can build a home and then rent out the basement, and then you can take that basement income and count it towards your income to get approved for more money at the bank. So then it eases up the stress of having to make the whole mortgage payment yourself.
That's a great idea. I definitely...
You should look into it.
I have. I've been keeping an eye on it. So, you guys are building homes that are set up to do that with that in mind?
We do have the option. You have to have a legally suited lot to put that type of home on it, and the city only develops so many of those lots a year to do it. So, is
it just bigger in size, or what's the difference between a legally suited lot?
Usually they plan them to be on the corner so that there isn't the issues with parking, even though you still have to have a stipulated X amount of parking stalls on the lot. And they can range from any different sort of lot sizes. So you could put a really skinny, narrow investment property that just checks the boxes to get the best return on investment. Or you could build one that is more of a family home with a front attached garage, but you want to subsidize the mortgage payment and then rent out the basement as well. So there's a couple options.
Definitely think that's a great idea. You know, if you don't have kids, you don't really need that much space.
Yeah, and it could be just a standard size home. Like you could still get a good size home too to do
Yeah.
that with.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that you can, because it's considered your primary residence, you only have to put 5% down. Whereas if you're doing a straight investment property, you would have to put 20% down.
Oh wow, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. So if you bought an investment property, or you bought a property that was legally suited, you would put 5% down. But then in a few years, if you wanted to upgrade, you could keep that home and still move into your next home and still only have to put 5% down. So you could really maximize your money as well.
Is there a difference for a first-time buyer?
As far as how much you have to put down?
Yes.
The minimum amount typically is the 5%, because, and then you'd have to pay CMHC fees, it's called, up to 20% down.
Okay.
So you have to, it's on a sliding scale, but it wouldn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or second, you still, as a minimum, usually have to put at least the 5% down.
5% down.
Yeah.
All right.
It's when you get into investments that you have to put more down.
Okay. How many homes have you owned?
Oh, you?
A few?
We're in the business.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do.
How old were you when you bought your first home?
18.
18?
Yeah.
Good for you.
My twin sister and I, when we came down to university, we bought a new home because we didn't want to waste the money on renting it. And our parents, my grandparents actually really helped us like put a down payment together so that we could do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever sold a house for a major loss?
Not no, I only one for a little bit of a loss, but every other one has been a very good investment.
Do you feel that real estate is a good
Oh,
second income?
100%, yeah. We have a few rental properties, and it's the business that we know, and with the way that Lethbridge is set up with the university and the college and young professionals, it's very easy to rent, and it's worked out very well for us.
It seems like the university is expanding.
Yes.
And that's not really going to be slowing down, I don't think, anytime soon, so it's probably a good plan for the future.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you find summertime when all the students move away? Does that affect you?
Not typically. If they do, usually we do a reduced rate over the summertime, but most of the homes that we rent out to actually are usually young professionals, so we don't have that problem as much.
Okay. In my neighborhood, I live kind of London Road area.
Oh, yes.
As soon as it got sunny, so like 2 days ago,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit longer, for sale signs everywhere.
Yes.
All over the place.
Yes.
Do you by chance have any idea how many homes are for sale in Lethbridge?
I think it's just around, I think it's around 600
600?
that are on the MLS system.
Do you know what the split would be against new homes versus older homes?
Ooh, I don't know
You
that.
think the majority would be older homes or newer homes?
Oh, older homes.
Older homes.
Yeah, and there'd be like quite a range. Really, anything under the 300, 325 is really selling really, really well, and anything over that 350 to 400, and over takes a little more time for sure.
Yeah.
But in comparison, like MLS is up over last year at this time, so that's positive on it. Permits for new construction are down a little bit, but I think that but multifamily is up quite a bit. So single family down a little bit, multifamily up.
Okay.
So
I was looking, Lethbridge is at, I think, 92,000 people now, somewhere around there.
yeah.
How do you think it should balance out as far as how many old homes are available compared to how many new homes are being built? Is there anybody that kind of like regulates that to say, hey, there's too much on the market right now, or you need to slow down with the building? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because how new construction work is usually based on land development. So all the different land developments that come on, they invite so many new home builders to come and build in their areas. And that's where we're kind of committed to buy so many lots, and we have to start paying out those lots, and that's why we have to start building on those lots. So a lot of people don't really understand like why we keep building, but if we don't keep building, the land developer will sell it to another like small home building company, and then they'll get the land possession, and the land possession really is king and makes all the difference of being a successful business or not.
How long would Ashcroft sit on land before starting to build?
Well, usually we're allotted so many lots every year. In like for example, in Copperwood, where all the lots are divided up between Daytona, Galco, and Ashcroft, and we might have 8-10 lots in our inventory right now that we can pick from, and then we would do some of them as spec homes, and some of them and do the rest as pre-sales in that area. And
do you save the best lots for the pre-sales?
Oh yeah, for sure. Pond lots, park lots, walkout lots, pie lots. People love them. On it.
There seems to be quite a bit of water features going up, especially on the west side.
Yeah,
lots of ponds and stuff like that.
They sell very well. Like we have some pond lots, one pond lot left in Country Meadows right now. It's about $133,000 for a pond lot over there, so I think it's quite reasonably priced. Nice wide lot. You could get a triple car garage on it. So
triple car garage. People in Lethbridge are doing all right.
Yep, people like triple car garages because then they can park in the garage. They just don't store stuff in the garage.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about us Canadians. We got the coldest winters, so we all build garages
to park outside.
Keep our stuff in so we can park outside. Exactly.
I see it all the time.
We're a strange country, definitely. Does Ashcroft just build houses, or do they do duplex and other bigger dwellings as well?
Yeah, we have quite a spectrum. Like right now we have duplexes on the west and on the south. And on the west they're starting at about $270, and on the south they're about $280. And that gets you 3 bedrooms, upstairs, stainless steel appliances, quartz countertops, like a nice high-end finish in the home. And then we do single family that range from about $345 to and up, and then we do custom pre-sales that are $1 million as well. Okay. So we have quite the range.
Quite a range, yeah.
No commercial development though, just residential.
Okay. How old is Ashcroft, do you know?
We just had our 10-year anniversary in last August. So
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
How old is the Copperwood development?
Ooh, it is probably about 14, 15 years old.
So I worked for a landscaping company.
Oh yeah.
And we did a lot of work in the Copperwood area.
Yeah. And
I remember seeing Ashcroft in there quite a bit. I was wondering if they kind of got their start at that.
Yeah. Did you work for Aztec?
Aztec, yeah.
They did a lot of our.
We
homes.
certainly did. Yeah.
Yes, Copperwood was the first development that Ashcroft went into.
Okay. And how are the homes holding up?
Oh, good.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah. They'll come with a warranty.
Yeah. How many different crews do you have out building homes?
Framing crews?
Yeah.
Right now we probably have about 3 or 4 on it. We Ashcroft doesn't have their own contractors. We contract out, and then they are our trades that work in partnership with us.
Okay. Do you guys work basically with just a couple of floor plans like that are commonly used that you can tweak slightly, or how do you decide? Like if you're building a spec home, how many different floor plans do you think they have that they pick from?
Oh, there's about 30.
30?
Yeah,
wow.
or more. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
But we definitely have our favorites that we know sell the best, that people like, that check a lot of boxes for them.
Would you try to not build too many of the same floor plans in like the same community, or is it actually better to have similar houses in the same communities?
It varies. It depends on what kind is happening in the market. So, and we kind of go in spurts where we would have, low $300,000 product for single family. Maybe we'd have 1 or 2 of them, and then we'd also have a higher, like $400,000 price point of home too, so that you have a mix, so that when people come in, you have a selection
Okay.
on them.
Is there quite a few controls in these new neighborhoods, the new developments that are trying to, I guess, like make a certain look or feel in an area?
Yes, certain areas have specific architectural controls that you have to abide by to build in that area. So there are ones that are more strict than others. So for example, the crossings, you have to have hardy board siding, and you have to do a different front elevation, specific elevation changes to it. So it adds about $20,000 to $25,000 to the price of a home on it, and then all those homes in that area have that same feel, but then cost that much more money to do.
Okay.
You could do those changes in all the different subdivisions, but when your neighbor doesn't have it, it's really hard to justify spending that extra money to do something, because you won't get it out.
Okay. I guess it would affect your resale quite a bit.
Yeah, like if in resale, sometimes it's funny that even though all of that area has that certain product, you're still comparing against product in all the west side.
Okay.
So if it's a 2,000 square foot house, they're just basing it on that, not necessarily it's a 2,000 square foot house with hardy board. It would make it probably sell faster, but.
Okay. Man, I want to come tour some of your houses.
Yes, for sure. We're so I work out of the show home in Copperwood, and our show homes are open from 2 till 8 during the week, except for Fridays, and then noon until 5 on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. It's good availability?
Yeah, we try to stay home open after supper so that if people can get organized and then still come and see us.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you like putting in serious hours?
Oh
Are you there
yeah,
all the time?
it's sales.
I feel like you kind of live in spec homes more than your own home a little.
Yeah, I sometimes keep food in the fridge, and people say, "Does somebody live here?" And I say yes, and they think I'm being serious,
Yeah.
but it kind of is like I am.
Yeah.
I have quite a few meals at the show home.
That's what it takes, though, right?
Yeah, that's what it takes. For
Have
sure.
you always been interested in sales? Was that?
I never knew that I was going to university. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and when I graduated, Kirby and I were building a new home, and we were working on our window quote, and the salesperson that was coming to visit us to go over the quote said, "Well, maybe you should give me one of your resumes," and I started working for him a couple weeks later.
No, good.
Yeah. So that was my start in the industry, but my parents have some friends in Calgary that build homes, and so we toured a lot of show homes when we were kids, and so that's kind of what maybe got us thinking about it, even though we weren't really thinking about it. And just seeing Kirby selling, I thought that I could do that, and then we did.
You find it a little nerve-wracking sometimes when the market's fluctuating a little bit. I'm sure that
Yes.
there's obviously going to be slow times and fast times.
Their sales is 100% commission based, so you really have to work for it, and you can't decline any opportunities. You have to try to make everything work that you possibly can, and you eat what you kill, so you really got to be on top of it on it. And but it's kind of the farming mentality that we grew up with, and the harder you work, the more money you make, and it's been a great life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's I think that mentality translates really to anything.
Yeah.
Like you got to go out, you got to get yours. It's not easy to really become successful. There's an interesting theory or idea, I guess. I don't know if you've ever heard. It's the Matthew principle.
Tell me more.
Well, it's from the Bible, but it just kind of, if you've ever played Monopoly, you know how it works. That to those who have something, more will be given.
Right.
Right, and so as you're playing Monopoly, as you start to get more property and more things, everything just starts coming to you, and that's actually seems to be a true principle that really works. But it's not easy to get the ball rolling in your favor.
And stay focused on it. Like you can't be arrogant enough to think that you're still the best salesperson, because things in this industry are constantly changing with the way that social media has now changed, and the way that show homes used to be the only source of the way you could get new business, like that is no longer the case. Last year, you know, a quarter of my sales were from Kijiji and
Okay.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you told me that 2 years ago that you would sell that much by posting a picture of a home, I never would have believed you.
Yeah.
But
So those are just people that they're initially seeing the property online, and then they come down, and then you're still selling them, right?
right. So I think it sparks their interest. I think that the mentality of people are, you know, keyboard warriors. They like doing their research on the computer first. They like looking into things, and then they can ask a question from a distance. They, instead of coming into the show home and being that intimate with people, they like doing it from afar.
A step away.
Yeah.
Do you think that your customers are better informed when they're coming to you now?
Oh, definitely. With all the new, they have access at their fingertips with the internet, and they can Google things and look up floor plans, look up pricing, and look up what competition's doing and things like that so easily now that they're much more informed. And also all the TV shows, like the do-it-yourselfers, that kind of information is there, that people are much more educated.
Yeah, those educated customers. It's good and bad. No, it's mostly good.
It's good. Then they know a lot what they want. Like sometimes people come into the show home and they haven't even started, so you kind of walk them through a process of it.
What kind of tips would you give to people who are looking for a new home? If they say, okay, I wanna maybe not buy something, but buy one of the ones that's already made. What are the key things you want to look for when you're looking at a new home?
Well, I think you have to look at where you're at in your life right now. Like, for example, like if you were just a young couple getting started, but you thought that maybe you would have a family, you need to look at something that you can grow into, not necessarily what's great for you at this very moment, because a lot of people are in their homes for longer than a couple years. So
what do you think, is that something that's changing, or is that the same? Like, I feel like people, maybe it's just I move now quite a bit, and I wouldn't say I'm transient, but I definitely do like hop around,
get around
a little bit. Do you think people generally, when they buy a home, are planning to be there for long term? Or is there a lot of mindset of, I'll buy this now and just, I can get rid of it?
I think that they think that they're going to be there longer than they actually are.
Okay.
Because I think that they grow out of it. But a lot of times I see young couples that go and maybe buy a bi-level product where there's just maybe 2 bedrooms on the same floor, and then they have one baby, and then usually a couple years later they have the second child, but they don't want to put a 2-year-old in the basement. So it seems like 2-story products where you have 3 bedrooms upstairs is really taken off in comparison to what it used to be, because people are planning to stay longer in their homes so that they have all those bedrooms together. Right.
Do you think family sizes are increasing or decreasing?
Well, we are in the Bible Belt, so in Lethbridge, it definitely does seem like there's a lot of young families that have 2 or 3 children, for sure, on it. But probably overall it's decreasing, but it doesn't seem like that in our communities.
Is that then something that Ashcroft kind of plans for? Says, hey, we got lots of young families that are buying houses. We need to, for example, have 3 bedrooms on one floor. That's
Definitely.
what's selling.
Yes.
And
Primarily.
would trends like that, would that be a trend, or is that just kind of a Lethbridge fact of people here are going to have more kids?
It's funny because, like, if you were to go to the outlying communities, most of the homes are bi-levels still, where they're bigger. In town, the lots are smaller, so the best value is going with a 2-story home. So and checks the boxes for young families as well. So it seems like in Lethbridge, the 2 stories definitely are a hit.
More popular.
Yeah.
Do you have a pretty consistent demographic of people who are buying houses from Ashcroft, or does it really?
Oh, there's quite a range.
Quite a range.
Yeah.
So I imagine you have lower pricing homes for younger families, and then your bigger, better builds for those who can afford it.
Yeah,
who are
exactly.
gonna be older.
It's a lot of our home buyers. A lot of them are second-time home buyers for the most part, but we're getting into more duplexes and that product that would be for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
For sure.
I want to check
You're
out
gonna
the
come
duplexes. Well, duplexes, I think, are like, everybody kind of, at first, it's like, no, it's a bad idea. I don't want to share walls with someone. They might be really noisy. But I think just the idea of sharing the cost a little bit of building a structure.
For sure.
And then just cutting it in half, it actually, in my mind, is a little bit better use of space and maybe money.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I would
For sure.
go for.
You probably save about $30,000 to do a duplex versus doing a single family, the same floor plan as a single family.
Are they putting quite a few duplexes in these new developments?
Every area kind of gets like a mixture of multifamily and single family now. They don't want a cluster in one area of multifamily because of that, so they mix it into the different new subdivisions.
Would that, do you think, drive the price down if there was like a bunch of duplexes in an area? Would that negatively affect the
they
area?
have to do certain architectural controls again too on the front of these units, and you have to have like everywhere has to have them now, so it's kind of inevitable. Like it's not maybe back in the day when it was like the first ones going in, but now everywhere has to have them.
Do you fear that Lethbridge will follow Calgary in the urban sprawl that takes forever to go from one side of the city to the other because nothing builds up, it's all just more houses going out?
I think the numbers, like the stats are that Lethbridge is growing on average 2% every year. And I used to think that once we hit the 100,000 for population that it would exponentially grow, but I've read more studies about that since, and it seems like it'll still be just the 2%. And we have such a vast land mass like that we can pick from that, I'm sure it will just keep going out.
It'd be nice if they'd build that second bridge from the west side to the south side that they've been talking about forever.
We don't want our taxes to go up that much.
We don't. It's funny, people complain about driving, but
we're very lucky.
But you can try to go from Paradise Canyon to like the south side Walmart, and if you hit all the red lights, it's going to take you
half an hour. Oh my gosh.
I know.
We're so hard done by.
We are so hard done by.
We don't all live in Paradise Canyon.
No.
Those people chose that. I'm sure they knew what they were getting into.
Do you remember when that was like a whole different place?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like part of the city. You had to go out of the city to go to Paradise.
One of the first, when we were looking to buy, when we first moved to Lethbridge, that was one of the places we looked at, buying a condo down there.
Okay.
I'm glad we didn't, because I don't want to
against
drive
it.
either.
Yeah. Do you know in the city's planning where they're kind of going? Is there more expansion on the west side versus south side versus north side? Because north side's it's expanding a little bit too.
Yes, for sure. I know more about the west side. There's some other planned communities, like Waterbridge is the next development that's coming to the west side, and that's going to be in between Sunridge and what will be the next phase of Copperwood. So we're in the first phase of Copperwood, and then there'll be another one.
Okay.
And then Métis Trail will continue on, and then meet up with Waterbridge.
Okay.
On it. So
how long till that development starts?
Oh, I don't know, but that's where the new school is on the west side. So the school is already in that subdivision. So I'm sure it'll be following along here soon.
That's pretty cool that you kind of get to see the vision of Lethbridge a couple steps ahead than a lot of people.
Yeah, and there'll be more development too between Country Meadows, Gary Station, and the crossings as well.
Okay.
Those will all be going together.
So is it generally different companies that build, say, on the north side Like those new, the like Black Wolf area and
Yeah, Black
that.
Wolf is owned by Avonlea, so that's like a specific subdivision that just Avonlea builds in.
Okay.
But typically, how land developers do it is that they invite different home builders into the different areas. So usually 3 or 4 home builders go into each area because not everybody wants to buy an Ashcroft Daytona or a Delco. Like everyone has their own traits that they do. So you have to have a variety so that you can sell the different product quickly on it.
So when you're working all together with different home builders, do you guys generally get along pretty well, or is the competition pretty fierce?
Luckily, we do get along really well. People smile and wave and say hello and bring you a nice coffee every now and then and stuff like that. So it's nice.
Keeping it cordial.
Yeah. Nobody needs that extra stress.
No, but, you know, in highly competitive markets, things can get crazy.
When you only have certain lots, like we're lucky even within our company is that we can sell into the different subdivisions. We're not just restricted to our own subdivision. So it is, it's competitive against your own company because the other people are in the different subdivisions and they might have talked to somebody, but it's about communicating and talking it out and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah. How do you feel, we kind of mentioned it a little bit before, but just as a woman in the industry, is it pretty fairly split, or is it more male dominated?
Right now I think it's pretty split, like even. Everybody has their own traits. Like it's hard to do a sales position like this and be a woman, and if you have children, because our hours are so late and things like that. So most of the women don't have young families, but some definitely do.
How about you?
No, no young families. I'm a spinster. West Side.
Dedicated to the job?
Yeah, my sister and I live together still. We just built a new home about a year ago and live there.
Twin sisters, live together.
Single.
Both work for home builders.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
No, actually, I'm not. Are there twins?
There are. I was going to ask you about these twins, but
what are their names?
Jamie and Cersei Lannister. They're also lovers.
Oh.
It's kind of a weird thing.
Went there.
Yeah, they went there. Thanks, George R. Well, do you see yourself staying in the industry for a long time to come?
I really enjoy it.
You're happy there?
I like home building and designing new homes and decorating, and I really like the industry, yes.
As a career path, do you see there's like room to grow and to continue just getting better for yourself?
For sure.
What would that look like?
There's a lot of different opportunities out there as far as going into more custom home building or different types of sales, or like Kirby went into the office and is the sales manager, then has the sales team underneath her. So there's lots of different avenues for sure.
So, sorry, what did you say you did in school? What was your
a management degree.
A management degree?
Yeah.
And then you went right away into
selling.
sales?
Yeah.
What would you recommend for a young person getting into the industry? How would you say to prepare yourself to start?
I would probably try to do some volunteer work with the different home builders and kind of get a feel of what it's all about and if it is like a good fit, and kind of be open. It's a fantastic career. I mean, there's a lot of weekends and night work that are involved in it, but it's very rewarding to like get people into their first homes and walk people through that type of process and be part of something that's really big. Like buying a home is
a big deal.
The biggest purchase that they're probably ever going to make in their life, and you get to be part of it and help them through that. And some people like that working environment and some people don't like that working environment. So definitely.
What do you think you roughly would work hours wise in a week?
Oh. a lot.
Quite high.
Yeah.
So it's not a job for the faint of heart.
Yeah. Like when you're busy, you love working and going the extra mile and putting that time in. But when you're not busy, you almost have to even work harder because you don't know when that next sale's coming.
The feast or famine kind of.
So definitely you have to be focused on what you want to do.
Do you feel your university education has really been helpful, or could you have done it without skipping that process?
Well, I think that the university really put me on the right track on, group projects and working with people and working through problems and thinking about the big picture and taking the different courses in public speaking and management that we had to take. That really helped it, but I attribute a lot of it to my parents and their work ethic and them teaching me about speaking up and making eye contact and speaking with adults and things like that have been the most valuable for sure.
Yeah.
On it.
That's great.
They all play different parts.
I do. I've heard a fair amount of criticism lately about university education and how it's maybe not as useful as people think it is, and encouraging kids not to waste their time with going and doing it. But
yeah,
it's all about the choices that you make, and
there's a lot of different
yourself.
avenues, and I think in Lethbridge we've been very lucky because it is a small community and you get to know people so well that you have connections that maybe in bigger cities you don't have, so that you maybe get opportunities and job offers that you would never get in the city. And in the big city you have to have that degree and you have to have those good marks to get that job opportunity. So I think that there's a lot of different factors to it.
I would agree. I think overall it's just how hard you want to work too. If you're a hard worker from a farm, you can get in anywhere.
I think that they're smart working too.
Smart working.
Yeah.
Over hard working.
Well, there's a combination.
A combination of the two, I would agree. Well, thank you so much, Whitney. It's been a pleasure having you in here. It was a pleasure to meet you.
It's been great. Thank you for having me.
I hope that you are able to sell a lot more homes. Do you want to tell people again where you're at and where they can come see you?
You bet. I'm in my brand new Copperwood show home. It's called the Jace, and the address is 1477 Coalbanks Boulevard, and we are in the show home between 2 and 8 during the week, and we take Fridays off, and then Saturday and Sunday from noon until 5. And you can just pop on in and you can see my show home, and I could take you to see other spec homes, or we can take a tour and look at different lot options and build you your dream home.
Awesome.